Hi, my name is Anna, and I am a survivor of postpartum depression. I have 2 children, and I experienced postpartum depression with both. With my first child, my birth was kind of traumatic and stressful. She was born not breathing and with a cord around her neck, and that was a very traumatic experience, especially with, my first time being through that. With my second child, I experienced a lot of anxiety in my 3rd trimester and didn't get much sleep in that 3rd trimester. I know a lot of women don't, but it was pretty extreme for me. I was sleeping maybe an hour at a time, and so I kind of went into having her already completely exhausted. And with both experiences, obviously the first one was a little harder for me to recognize because I'd never been through it. I actually had people telling me, people close to me, "You're just emotional, you're hormonal, you're tired, it'll pass." And I wasn't okay, and it actually took a sister-in-law of mine who had been through her own experience that had come to me and said, "You're not okay and you need to, seek medical help." And so I was lucky that first time around I got on medication and I got better. And the second time was harder. It was a different experience. I went on medication right after I gave birth, and instead of feeling better, I got worse. And I had a baby that was about 8 weeks old, that wasn't sleeping much during the day. She'd sleep for about a half an hour, and then she would cry and want me to hold her. And so I wasn't getting any sleep, and it was hard to heal, really, even though I was on that medication. And with both of my experiences, the anxiety was all-consuming. I felt completely alone, even though I wasn't, and I cried night and day, nonstop. And I actually wasn't eating or sleeping, even though I was exhausted, and I dropped a massive amount of weight in a very small period of time. And I would feel like my stomach was just twisted in knots all the time. And another thing I would feel too is I would feel just like this impending doom. Just especially when the nights would come. The nights were the hardest for me. And I did have moments where I just wanted to run and flee, like away from home, and never come back. I remember I went to run an errand without my husband or my children, and I sat in the parking lot and just really had to talk myself into going back home. I wanted to just drive. I didn't even know where I would go. I just knew I didn't want to go back home. I knew that I needed help when I did start to have some irrational thoughts about myself and my baby. I would look at my newborn and think, why doesn't she just do something? And which is crazy, she's a newborn baby. And I would also wish that she was older and wish that I could push a fast forward button, which is so off for me because I love that baby, that newborn baby, period. I also had issues with, I was obsessed with germs. I would wash my hands all day long, and anything that touched the floor, it had to be cleaned. And with my second one, there was one day where I think I took her temperature probably 20 times that day. I thought for sure she had RSV, even though she wasn't showing any of the symptoms or anything like that. I just was so consumed with something's wrong. So my husband and my family members were there to help me get help. I remember feeling so miserable and so exhausted and just so done fighting that I had told my husband I would do anything to feel better, even like electroshock therapy, if it would help heal me. And I felt like with the first child, I was fortunate enough that my medication, kicked in. With my second one, I even had like my OB on the phone, like a nurse, and telling them that I wasn't okay. And I mean, even had them telling me to wait it out and just give it time. And I almost had to get to a point of anger and really just say, I have severe postpartum depression and I'm not okay. And it still kind of makes me upset that I had to get to that point for somebody to listen to me, because I was told that I would have to wait 3 weeks for an appointment to adjust my medication, and I'm like, I don't have 3 weeks. And so I was able to get in and get my meds adjusted, and I did slowly recover that second time. I not only had to take an extra dosage of antidepressants, but I was also on anti-anxiety meds because I was not sleeping at all or eating. So as far as the resources that, helped me, medication, obviously, a strong support system, a close network of people that I trusted, and also finding other stories that I could relate to, that really helped. And I just remember going through it, and the number one thing I kept telling myself was to fight and just keep fighting, even though I didn't want to. I knew and I hoped that one day the clouds would lift and I would feel this light again, because all I felt was darkness. And with severe anxiety, you feel like nothing is predictable. You can't count on anything. And so I tried really hard to find something that I knew I could count on. And that for me was the next day, the sun coming out the next day. And I just knew a new day would come. And so I clung to that and I held on to it. And I would say for anybody who is struggling with postpartum depression to find your hope, whatever that is, and just hold on to it with everything that you have. I wish that I had known the second time around would be different than my first time. We thought that we were prepared, and there really is no way to prepare for the unknown. The only advice I can really give is to take baby steps, hour by hour, even minute by minute if you have to, day to day. Just take things as they come, and really try to feel what you're feeling, those feelings that you're having. Embrace them almost. You don't have to love what you're feeling and love the situation you're in, but if you can try to embrace those feelings you're having and not push them away, I think it makes it easier to deal with, because if you're just shoving those away, they're eventually going to come back. And so just deal with things as you're feeling them. For advice for people who have loved ones that are experiencing this, I would say little things go a long way. For me, I had a very small circle of people that I trusted and that I wanted to talk to. So I would say don't be upset if for some reason you're not in that close network. It's not personal. Send text messages or emails or phone calls with messages of love and support, but know that they will probably not get answered, but that person is reading them and those little things mean the world. One of my big things was my loneliness. I just felt so alone, especially when my husband would leave for work for the day. And so my mom would come every day when my husband would head off to work, and she would just be with me at my house, and we wouldn't do anything. You know, she would play with my older child sometimes, and we'd watch mindless TV together, but she didn't expect anything of me. I mean, I think there were days where we didn't say much to each other. She'd offer me to get, you know, she'd make me lunch, or she'd offer to go get me a drink or something like that. But the most important thing was that she didn't expect anything of me, and that really helped. Having, you know, someone offer to come and take older children, even if it's just for an hour or so, that really helps ease the burden, because when you are experiencing postpartum depression, you can barely take care of yourself, let alone this newborn baby. So I would just really try to say that anyone experiencing this, please seek medical help and don't take no for an answer. I would suggest a mental health professional if possible. And if you don't know anybody, try to get a referral for one. I just wanted to say that I did this so that maybe my story would help somebody else. Maybe get them through a hard time and know that you're not alone, that there are many women that experience this. And it's going to take us talking about it and what we're experiencing to make people aware and to end the stigma that comes with mental illness.